Hello, I'm Michael Richardson. Recently, the Criminal Justice Policy Coalition had a seminar at Suffolk University Law School on life without parole. A panel discussion focused on that topic, although also explored other aspects of corrections. Coalition Chair, Attorney Eric Tenon, kept the panel moving with a lively set of questions. Former Massachusetts Department of Corrections Commissioner Kathleen Dennehy warned there was no political will for reform, while defense attorney Patricia Guerin explained that many life prisoners really shouldn't have been there, but for unfortunate circumstances in their case.
17, even 18 years old. Since your brain is not fully developed, you don't have the ability to have the executive function part of your brain working such that you can appreciate your consequences and control your behavior. So the Supreme Court has held you can't execute juveniles in 2005, and just recently this year they held that you can't execute a juvenile for a non-homicide crime. A lot of states have life imprisonment for armed robbery and rape and other crimes, and they said no, it can't. And they didn't rule on the question of homicide, so I'm working on that now in a case with a mentally ill juvenile to challenge life without parole in Massachusetts. So I think when you figure out segments of the population that you want to separate, it goes to why are we incarcerating people?
This is complicated. There is no cookie cutter, and I know Milton didn't mean that as an insult. There is no cookie cutter approach to any one case. There are a number of factors that go into dispositions, that go into pleas. At times, it is disheartening. The description that Jana provided is disheartening. That's very disheartening when people that cooperate get a much better or far better deal than the person most responsible for that crime. However, putting cases together, and I think everyone on this panel recognizes, putting cases together can be very complicated and complex, and asking citizens to step up and participate in prosecution is an enormous request from the district attorney's office, and I just don't want there to be an impression that we give cases away. It's a case-by-case analysis, and the goal of the district attorney's office is to do the right thing.
Actually, the prison system was actually attractive. It was thought of as being a rite of passage. If you didn't go through it, then how could you know if you can survive it? So growing up as a juvenile, I did not do DYS or DSS or any of those custodies, but the wanting to know whether or not I could survive an institution because I was engaged in those same activities, those same behaviors. It was actually looked at as a reward. People got high five, hand slaps, like, yeah, you just did time. You know, it was actually appreciated amongst our group. So looking at life without parole, when I found he was sentenced and I was facing a life sentence, it wasn't without parole. There's no homicide or anything, so I didn't run for office with a homicide. But it was looking at, wow, this is what this institution is. I'm just sitting here. I'm bored. I'm doing the same activities, playing cards on the phone, playing basketball, and back to the same schedule the next day. So I wasn't learning anything to be productive once I was released. So when we look at serving life without parole, if I'm bored, I'm not leaving, who am I going to affect? I'm going to affect those that are eventually transitioning back into the community. I'm upset, I'm angry, I'm going to pass that energy on to those that are going to be released, and it's going to wreak havoc on the greater society, larger society. I not only paid my debt to society, but I did understand I needed to earn back society's trust. I worked in things I was overqualified for, tedious work settings, but still would not be provided an opportunity to provide for my children. I had 2 daughters while I was incarcerated. So that struggle, that anger, the feeling of being hopeless can have me go back into activities that could lead back into my incarceration just to provide for them. And that was one of the issues of reentry. You asked the question about, do you age out? I think anyone that has that experience, there's not one person in jail that does not want to be free and stay free. So you do age out, but when opportunities are limited for you to get involved in, I didn't have a roadmap in regards to how do I get my life back on track with Corey. And so I had to go about that journey alone. And then I finally met someone after being denied an employment opportunity after showing and proving I was the best person. So it was more, I believe anyone ages out, they just don't know how to apply to the larger society, what skills they might have, using some of the things they might have learned in the streets to now doing it in, you know, the larger society. So it does happen. I'm only 29. I was released in 2004, and I ran for state representative. I've been working in local politics for the last 4 years, so it can happen. And I didn't get a handout. I didn't know anyone in the political world. I just said, you know, I have a Corey. I'm willing to work. Here go my resume. Can I get a chance? And it was me owning that Corey, which is the hardest thing to do in a job interview. You checked off, yes. Can you explain? I don't want to tell people what I have a Corey for. So I lose the job because maybe my posture, my body language says, this isn't the guy.